Hello everybody, welcome back. We're going to have a look at OMI. So having a nice bit of a pump today, and I suppose coming along from the video that I made, it might have been a week or two ago, which is that there was a trend which has formed, a genuine trend for OMI, unlike this thing. But if you were to have a look on CoinGecko and see how much it's up, generally speaking, and it's a ridiculous amount. So I mean, this chart is just one little blip. You know, this is just a tiny little portion of the overall price action, to which I don't actually have access to. But I mean, its starting price was way below this, and it's actually up. You know, I think it's something ridiculous like 10,000% since its inception. So I mean, this is you know, a coin which has gone up massively. And what we're looking at here is like the, you know, small pieces of price action. But that said, you know, we were looking at this. I say the royal we. I was looking at this downtrend all the way through the since May. This is one of the three altcoins, shitcoins, altcoins. Like I say, it's unfair to call these things shitcoins, especially this one when you think about it, how far it's been up since its inception. This is probably the least of all of the shitcoins, really. I call it a shitcoin because of its demise, really. But yeah, I mean, it's one of the three which I was looking to get an entry point in. My entry point was in this area here. I obviously didn't catch the bottom because it's too dangerous to catch the bottom. And I bought it within this zone. Accumulation, really. And then when we found this this here, which obviously doesn't look like much, but this is a perfect signal, really, for a continuation of a trend. Blue crossing the red, conversion baseline cross basically above the cloud, Chiku span above the price action. This here was the entry point for the Ichimoku cloud signal, the buy signal, which is good for those who did it, or for those who had an entry point at this level or lower, because then you could think about, if you wanted to, treating the Ichimoku cloud as an exit strategy too. So that would be when this Chiku span touches the price action, or we have the blue cross the red on a negative cross. That would tell you that the trend is likely ended. Doesn't mean it has to have ended, doesn't mean that we're going to crash. It could just mean we're going to consolidate or go sideways, but it means that this current trend from this area here has finished, and we don't know how far the trend will go. But the trend began, and we came up to the half-cent zone, just short of the half-cent zone, front run a little bit, and that was also our previous area of resistance over here, and also a decent breakdown part here. So now that yesterday's candle body closed above there, and we've opened our first candle body above half a cent today, it's a big deal for OMI. Big deal. We have a look over here. We've got a nice positive cross on the MACD, and we're snaking up slowly and surely, but not really overextended. Perhaps maybe a little bit on the RSI, but not particularly. When you think about what we're looking at here, this is a very small cap coin. We could probably get a lot higher than this. All looks like it wants to continue. Now, the next area of significant resistance is going to be up here at 0.07, so 0.7 of a cent basically. That would be the next area of resistance. And given the way that this obviously is volatile, pumps and dumps, not because of its own problems, but because it's as a relatively low cap coin, it doesn't trade on an enormous amount of platforms. It's not available for leverage trading, so it's at the mercy of people buying and selling on Gate.io and maybe a handful of others, really. Which means that there are going to be sell orders at obvious places like that one, just as we saw sell orders take place around here and here, and they were significant too. This one is slightly different. This was based around the arrival of Marvel to the NFT platform, and it pumped as a result of that, and then dumped obviously by the rumour solar news. But this one was different. This was born out of the charts, healthy setup. It still dumped a fair bit, all the way down to a previous what was resistance flipped to support. So it wouldn't be out of the realms of possibility to imagine that we pump all the way up to about 0.7 of a cent and then actually come all the way back down to half a cent to test that as a support zone. Again, yeah, this is pretty speculative. It's a very young chart that we're trying to analyse here, but based upon what we see already and the strength of the trend, and the fact that if we were to move from here to here, we probably would be relatively overextended in the short term on these on the money flow index and the RSI, requiring a pullback really, and this would be the obvious place for it to settle down at. So the daily looks good to me. There's no point in looking at the weekly, but if we bring it to the 12 hourly, I did also notice that we did get a fresh conversion baseline cross over the last couple of days here. It's a bit contrived because we had one over here before, crossed negative, and then another one. And normally when you see these second ones, I mean, they do offer more upside, but they're not as strong as the one that already exists on the daily, but it is quite good for what it's worth. And looking quite high over here on the money flow index. So even though we're very high on the money flow index, you'll get high reads like this on coins that don't trade on a lot of platforms, because that's a lot of money for a small cap coin in a small period of time. So in the very short term, yes, we've peaked here. I would like to see a retest of the half-cent zone, and probably we will get that. Excuse me. Breaking down from the half-cent zone, then we've got to entertain the idea of moving averages, and that's perfectly normal, to be honest. Most bullish scenarios that we do stay above half a cent, and that proves to be support. But because we're quite extended on the 12 hourly and at the mercy of the market, if we did break down, then it would be a matter of moving averages, and if these have to hold. Like every day that goes by, these get higher and higher and higher, and we would get more bullish on this when the moving averages cross over this area of support, really, or resistance, wherever we are at the time. If we can get 10 exponential, center of the Bollinger Band, all over this half-cent zone, it makes this half-cent support way stronger than it is right now. At the moment, it's just it's a milestone. It's we haven't seen it be tested as support yet. If we get these cross above it, then it would be way stronger and way more significant. And then the move up to 0.7% and beyond would be a lot easier for it, because we've got more support, stronger support beneath us. Anyway, I'm liking the way it looks, and we can treat the signal of the conversion baseline as genuine, and we can continue with that journey using that single indicator to gauge our exit point. Excuse me, I need to have a coffee. Right, so overall, pretty bullish on this still, but expect massive volatility because of the nature of this coin. It's very small cap, very small cap indeed. So, like I say, it moves up and down, and will continue to do that until either futures become involved, or it gets listed on some more higher volume exchanges. Hopefully, something like Binance, maybe even Kucoin. But like I say, when it trades on something like Gate.io and a handful of others, you will get these massive moves up like this, and then you will also get massive moves down. It's just the nature of the volume, really, or lack of. People are going to want to sell, aren't they? So I mean, it is tempting to want to sell it already, just because. Even though I am bullish on this, which I am, and I expect it to continue, which I do, if you were actively trading this, and wanted just to make the most out of it, you would trade every last little piece of activity. And at the moment, it does say, all right, we probably will come down, and we might come down to half a cent. We may come down a little bit lower, and you might want to think about being clever and trying to trade it, or just selling this and going into Bitcoin. But for me personally, I've got a very different strategy based upon a very decent indicator. We don't get many of these signals anymore. You only really get these sort of signals after sort of moves that look like this, basically huge moves down and then a sideways accumulation, and then we get our buy signal. So we're not able to get many of these signals like this, especially on the daily, and that's my favourite time frame to get these signals on. They do offer the largest moves. But again, I can't tell you where it's going to go. It doesn't say that this means a 10x or anything. It just means that the trend has begun here and will continue until the trend has ended. And it will tell us when the trend has ended. Right, that's enough about OMI. I'm doing the live stream tonight, so please feel free to join in if you're a Patreon member. If not, there's a link in the description below. Otherwise, just join the Telegram chat and we can have a little chat on there. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Take it easy.